After almost 20 years of riding bikes, how have I avoided crashing them? This is one of the things that a lot of beginner riders and even seasoned riders get into their own heads about, almost like it's inevitable that you are going to crash if you ride motorcycles. And let me tell you from first-hand experience, that is absolutely not the case. It all comes down to how you ride and how responsible you are on the bike that you're riding. Today we're going to be going over a few of the techniques that I use on a daily basis that help me avoid such incidents. So hopefully it's going to help you out, you guys, and hopefully this will, well, it will make you feel a little bit more at ease if you're looking to get involved in riding motorcycles. So let's jump on the wicked Honda Blackbird and let's do this. Isn't that the thing, you guys? So many people, as soon as they hear that you ride bikes, it's like, oh, isn't that dangerous? You know, it's always that same old thing that so many people who don't understand the hobby, that's kind of like how they feel about it, even though it's totally ignorant. But unfortunately, because beginner riders and even seasoned riders hear it so much, it almost like it's like a nag in the back of their head that, oh, I'm gonna crash one day. But honestly, when I tell you that, I mean, I've dropped bikes, don't get me wrong, I've dropped bikes, but I've never crashed in, 19 years now, I think it's going to be this year, of riding bikes. Sounds like a crazy long time, doesn't it? I'm not even in my mid-30s yet, but I did start riding when I was 16, so it has been a long time and a lot of experience, and the one thing I've got to keep telling people is that it's how you ride the bikes, you guys. If you're responsible and you're, if you're good to yourself whilst you're riding, then you won't have any problems, honestly. Even if, as we've mentioned on a number of occasions on this channel, even if something unpredictable happens and it's outside of your control, it's all about the prep work that you do beforehand that makes the difference. There's always something you can do as the rider, always. If you're not leaving yourself with any options in one of those scenarios, then you're already out of luck, all right? You've got to create your own luck. You've got to put yourself in scenarios where you have options, even if something unpredictable happens, all right? And that's one of those things as well that you're not going to get overnight, you guys. You've got to get that experience, you've got to get that time in the saddle to understand what I'm talking about. And one of the main things that I always do, and I mean at this point I'm quite good at doing, is anticipating driver behavior. So people say about how it's other drivers on the road and how unpredictable they are. Yes, other drivers on the road are unpredictable, but there's always little telltale signs that they're about to do something stupid, or that they're not looking where they're going, or they're not indicating, they're not doing what they should be doing. And the amount of times I'm like, oh, I knew they were going to do that. If you can get that, if you can start understanding those small little giveaways of driver behavior, that's a big thing, you guys. When you can start imagining everything that's going to happen well before it happens, then you're automatically going to start anticipating what's coming and react accordingly, whether you need to slow down, whether you need to speed up, whether you need to change your position on the road. Things like that makes a huge difference, you guys. Makes a huge difference to your safety on a motorcycle. And people coming out of junctions or roundabouts, as a rule of thumb, right, if you're on a roundabout, or maybe you're coming up to a junction, even if you have right of way, slow down a little bit, just in case one of them decides to pull out in front of you. Then that gives you plenty of time to slow down and plenty of time to stop if you need to. It gives you options, all right? That's what you need to do. That's how you need to ride. You need to ride in two ways. One, avoid any other road users at all costs. When road users are unavoidable, you have to put yourself in a position where you have options. Like, for example, this car is indicating left and they're about to move left. If they didn't indicate left and they just move left and I wasn't expecting it, well, I could have crashed into the back of them, couldn't I? So you hang back. You hang back. See, they were slowing down a little bit before they ended up indicating. And it's one of my pet peeves, actually, is when drivers, they will start slowing down before they actually start indicating that they're going to turn off or something. And unfortunately, that's just a thing that happens on a very regular basis. But as soon as you see a driver put their brakes on, that should automatically flick a switch in your mind that this driver's about to do something, even if they don't have their indicators on or anything. Alright? So it's just little things like that. You know, you might be in a position on the road where you think to yourself, okay, this person isn't looking, and this person might see a gap on the road or something. Imagine you're on a dual carriageway or something, you're in the outside lane. You know, they should be giving way to you, but maybe they haven't seen you, or whatever their excuses might be. Okay? You look at that and there's a gap. You might think to yourself, well, they might pull out in front of me, especially if there's lots of traffic in their own lane and they get fed up of waiting in the traffic. So then they very quickly, without any warning, decide to just pull out. And so you can imagine, right, this road here, if there was traffic, say in this grass, right, I'd be over here, you know, just in case if one of those cars decides to come into my lane, I'm able to either get past it quickly, or I'm giving myself just enough room so that if they come in close to me, I'm not going to go into the railing, I'm not going to come off the road, and I'll be okay. I'll have just enough space to either squeak past through or to brake without having to worry about being obstructed by anything, you know? Little things like that. Things like filtering, right? Drivers don't like it when motorcyclists filter, but it's for a good reason. It takes you out of the pack. So if someone's going to get rear-ended, it's not going to be you, okay? It does serve a purpose safety-wise, but also it's an added benefit that you're getting to the front of a lot of the traffic queues. That's a benefit, but it is mainly for safety. Alright, so if you're not filtering, I would heavily encourage you to filter. Alright, just little things like that. Stay assertive. You be the dominant force on the road. You be very deliberate with the things that you're doing, with your intentions. You be very deliberate so every driver around you knows exactly where you are. It's like, for example, I mean, I used that dual carriageway example a little bit earlier on. The only issue with staying over on this side is that you might be in a driver's blind spot. So you always have to try and see the mirror. If you can see the mirror or a mirror of the car or the vehicle in front of you, they should be able to see you at all times. Alright? And then, I mean, if they decide to pull out in front of you, then, I mean, that's their own fault for sure, because they haven't checked their mirrors, clearly. Alright? But that's what that's another thing that you need to look out for, okay? Make sure you're always in the eyesight, in the vision of other drivers around you, if you can't help it. Alright? But this is a perfect opportunity here for me to go in for an overtake. But look, it's a blind junction. I don't know if anyone's coming out of there, you see? Alright? So I've got to watch out because someone might have been coming out of that junction. It's just little things like that. If you watch out for, you'll be okay. Little teeny tiny things. You know? See, I'm just gonna put myself as far away from other cars as possible. Alright, here's another opportunity to filter potentially, but look, we got cars merging, okay, so it's not a good idea to filter here because one of the lanes has been cut off. Alright, these are all things that you've got to be aware of and you have to anticipate at all times, you guys. I hope that there's an example of something that's about to happen that I can pick up on and be like, I think this driver's going to do this. Even if they don't do what I suspect they're going to do, at least I'm still prepared for it. But that's the thing, you guys. If you can imagine the stupidity of drivers around you, and you can imagine how stupid they're going to be, then you're always going to be anticipating it, and you're always going to be preparing for it. You know, one of the things here, see, look, I'm a bit too close to this car. What if they decide to randomly emergency brake for no reason, even though there's no traffic in front of them or anything? You know, if they decide to do that, then I've got to make sure I've got enough space to brake in time, or at least have a gap that I can squeeze myself through. You know, like here, for example. All right, that's a pretty good little gap there that I could find myself in. See, this person isn't moving over. So people like me, they get frustrated. So they gotta do things like this. But you know, it's fine because I'm coming up to a roundabout. No big deal. Technically, it's also filtering. Let's see here. So if I indicate this way, this blue car might come out, and they haven't. Okay. But you see what I mean? I held off on the throttle just a little bit. Just a little bit. So if they were going to pull out, I was ready for it. Luckily they saw me in the mirror, so they were able to let me past. But those are the main things, you guys. That's perhaps the most important thing. I mean, the next thing that we're going to be discussing in a moment is how you are your worst enemy. You yourself. Oh my goodness, it's warm today. Woo! Alright, so what do I mean by you are your own worst enemy when it comes to this? It means that you are the one that put yourself in the most danger. And like, the times when I've been most at risk is when I've been doing either stupid things or things that I wouldn't normally do. If you do things that you wouldn't normally do, then you're asking for trouble. Alright? You need to get into your rhythm. You need to find your groove. Once you've found it, stay there. That's where you know you're going to be comfortable. That's where you'll know you're going to be the most safe. Alright? Like, you know, trying to pull wheelies when there's not enough space to do them. Things like that always end up in disaster. But the problem is that you don't know when there's not enough space not to do them. So you've got to add double, triple the amount of space that you think you need to be able to do the wheelie. It's just little things like that, again, that could mean the difference, you guys. So I'm just looking at all this traffic here on my left, just anticipating what they're going to do. See, I've got this red car here that nearly came out into this lane. They've decided not to. Alright, I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to get in front of all of this traffic here. Let's see, is anyone indicating right? Anyone else indicating right? No, they're not. So I'm going to keep going. Alright. I mean, this is just an internal monologue of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But this is how I naturally ride. Again, I'm trying to get away from traffic. I'm trying to get away from other cars. See, right now where I am, in between this car in front and the car behind, for me is an absolutely perfect place to be. But because I'm quicker than the rest of the traffic, I'm going to be coming up close to this car, so I'm going to be filtering again. Well, technically this isn't filtering, this will be overtaking, but you know what I mean. But yeah, you guys, pick and choose the right times to have fun, the right times to you know, do things that you wouldn't normally do. Make sure that you're doing it at the best possible times. Okay. If you haven't got a lot of space or there's lots of traffic around you, then just don't do stupid things. Don't pull wheelies. Don't do anything like that. Okay. Moreover, there's police around, so that's the reason why you gotta be vigilant. But yeah, that's the biggest problem, you guys. When I found myself in trouble, it's because I've been doing something stupid. It's because I've been trying to ride too fast. It's because I don't know. Yeah, I was trying to do some stunts. It's because I was trying to show off, or it's because I was trying to do this or trying to do that. You know, there's lots of reasons why you could end up in trouble, and it goes back to that whole thing of doing things that you wouldn't normally do. If you do that, then you're asking for trouble, unless you know that you're doing them in a place where you can actually do it. You know, you can have fun at certain times, knowing when to have fun, knowing when to ride quicker. A great rule of thumb that I have, see, they're not indicating. See, and I anticipated them going around the roundabout. They didn't indicate at all. Nothing whatsoever, honestly. That's what gets people killed, you guys. Drivers not indicating, and that's what you've got to look out for the most. But yeah, knowing when to have fun is another big one, you guys. My rule of thumb, that's what I was going to say, is that I'll only blast the throttle in straight lines. And when I know I've got lots of space and plenty of time to slow down if I need to at the other end. I mean, the thing is that part of the fun of riding motorcycles is that, you know, you get to ride them in the twisties, you get to, like, go fast around the bends and stuff. Like, that's a lot of fun, but the problem is that if you misjudge one of these bends even just a little bit, again, it could end up in disaster. So if you want to ride like that and you want to practice riding like that, then my best advice is to do it on a track. You know? Because then at least if you run off the track, you'll have a much better chance of getting away with it scot-free. You know? And also the roads are wider as well, so you have more chances to make mistakes on a track than you would do on the narrow roads of a suburb or a country road or something like that, you know. Little things like that, you guys, make a huge difference. But yeah, I think those are the main things, you guys. Anticipate, learn driver behavior, learn the little telltale signs that a driver is going to do something stupid, so you can prepare, you've got plenty of time to prepare, and only have fun when you absolutely know, when you can near enough guarantee that it's safe to do so. And don't get me wrong, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you guys to have fun on your daily commutes as well, and you'll learn at which points those are. But yeah, you guys, I think that's pretty much going to do it for us today. I could talk about this quite a lot, and I could make this a very long-winded video, but the problem is that people, they lose focus, and they lose that attention span. So I'm going to try and I try to keep these kinds of videos as short as I possibly can, so people get the benefit of the information without having to go through loads and loads of content, loads and loads of video footage, you know, things like that. But look, you guys, if this video has helped you out, if you learned something today, then please go ahead, leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell down there so you don't miss any more videos from us. And I really appreciate you joining me today. So thanks again, everyone. You guys, you take care, you ride safe. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.